life masked a very different one in private. A shadow loomed cast by the prince's relationship.
Wants to allow, quote, her son and the entire royal family to draw a line under the case that had threatened to overshadow her.
Queen really did have to make a decision. Andrew will no longer be addressed as His Royal Highness, and what's more is that he won't be.
You're not even ready for what's about to come out because this one is wild. Prince Andrew is finally about to open his mouth after years of silence, and the moment he does, it's Meghan Markle's name that's suddenly being whispered in every dark corridor of the palace. You see, the Queen had already made her big decision ages ago. Andrew stripped of his titles, banished from royal duties, his life practically erased. But now he's coming back, swinging, and Meghan's apparently panicking. And when I say panicking, I mean shaking, because the moment Andrew speaks, a buried chapter from her past might finally see the light. Now think back when Andrew's world came crashing down. His connections, his scandals, his name destroyed. Why did Meghan's name never once come up? Same social circles, same elite parties, same secretive network of people in power. Yet only one of them was burned alive in the press. Doesn't that sound a little too convenient? Andrew lost everything, while Meghan walked away spotless. That's not luck, that's protection. And if she was being protected, you have to ask, from what? People forget that before Meghan became the Duchess of Sussex, she wasn't just some Hollywood actress waiting for her prince. She had been circling those very same royal-adjacent circles for years. In fact, some insiders say Andrew had known Meghan long before Harry even entered the picture. And no, not just a polite handshake at some event. Apparently, they ran in the same private social groups, those exclusive, behind closed doors worlds where you don't just walk in unless someone powerful opens the gate for you. Meghan knew that world. She was comfortable in it. So why did nobody ever talk about it? Why is there absolutely no public record, no mention, no casual remark about Meghan and Andrew ever having known each other? It's like someone scrubbed that chapter out of existence, completely erased. You don't need to be a genius to see that when something's that thoroughly buried, it's because someone doesn't want it found. And then there are the photos, the ones from 2014. Meghan lounging on a private yacht, not some cruise or celebrity event. No, this was private. The kind of yacht where every name on board matters. She's not there by coincidence. That world of billionaires, royals, and hush-hush connections was exactly where Andrew had once moved freely. Around the same time, a woman named Karina Shuliak, tied to those same elite scenes, confirmed she only ever flew private and went yachting during that period. So when those photos of Meghan appeared, they weren't just vacation shots. They were snapshots of the lifestyle she was already orbiting, one that connected directly to the royals, including Andrew. And you can't just shrug that off. When Meghan entered the royal family, she didn't come in as a clueless outsider fumbling through palace etiquette. She was walking into a world she already understood. She'd seen it before, just not from the inside of Buckingham Palace. So now the question is, how did she even get into those circles to begin with? Toronto. That's where things started to shift. Meghan wasn't yet famous. She was filming Suits, working, ambitious, but not globally known. Then comes Marcus Anderson. And if you don't know who Marcus is, oh, honey, you're missing the key. He was part of Soho House, one of the most exclusive private networks in the world. A man who could open doors others spend their entire lives knocking on. He didn't just befriend Meghan, he ushered her into the inner circle of the rich, the powerful, the untouchable. Through him came introductions, Jessica Mulroney, New York elites, and eventually, royal connections. It wasn't random luck, it was calculated networking, a deliberate climb. And when you look at it now, the path becomes painfully clear. Meghan didn't stumble into royalty, she mapped her way there. And guess who was the first royal she tried to get close to? Not Harry. Prince Andrew. Yes, you heard that right. According to insiders, Meghan's initial focus wasn't the young, vulnerable prince, it was Andrew. He was established, well-connected, and deeply rooted in the royal system. For a woman looking for access and legitimacy within that world, Andrew was the direct line. But then came Sarah Ferguson, Andrew's ex-wife and ever-watchful gatekeeper. Fergie reportedly spotted what Meghan was doing and cut it off before it went anywhere. She blocked her, completely. Meghan's Andrew route closed. But a woman like Meghan doesn't stop. When one door shuts, she looks for the next one. And when that next door opened, it was Harry standing on the other side. Younger, emotional, grieving his mother. desperate for someone who understood pain and outsider status. Meghan saw it, moved quickly, and the story we all thought was a fairy tale romance may have been something far more strategic. Harry thought he'd found freedom. He thought Meghan represented escape from the cold machinery of royal life. He didn't see the strings. He didn't see the history. And when whispers started reaching him about Meghan's past, about names and faces from her earlier days, he ignored them. Cut off his family, convinced they were trying to sabotage his happiness. But over time, those whispers didn't stop. They grew louder, more credible, harder to ignore. Insiders say Harry eventually began realizing the truth that maybe his family hadn't been controlling or cruel. Maybe they were trying to warn him, but by then, it was too late. He'd already burned every bridge, walked away from his home, his duty, and his peace, all for someone who might have seen him not as a partner, but as a second option after Andrew. Think about that. Being a backup plan. The Plan B prince. That realization reportedly tore him apart. Because if Meghan had been introduced to that world through Marcus, and if her first attempt to enter the royal structure was through Andrew, then Harry wasn't her first royal connection. He was simply the one that worked. And yet, the press never touched it. No journalist followed up on those yacht photos, those whispered names, those overlapping years. The British media, who've ripped apart every royal scandal imaginable, stayed completely silent. It wasn't an accident. This was controlled silence. The palace itself reportedly intervened. They had every reason to keep it buried, because if the truth about Meghan's early royal connections ever went public, three things would have blown up at once. First, Harry's fragile mental state. The palace feared that the shock would destroy him publicly. After losing his mother, his battles with the press, the pressure one more revelation like that could have broken him completely. Second, another scandal the monarchy simply couldn't survive. Andrew's downfall already nearly destroyed their credibility. Add Meghan's alleged past connections to that same world, and it wouldn't just be a scandal, it would be an implosion. She was supposed to be their modern savior, the breath of fresh air, the symbol of progress. If it turned out she'd been in those circles all along, it would make every royal defender look like a fool. And third, sheer embarrassment. If the palace knew about Meghan's past and still let her marry Harry, they'd look reckless, incompetent, like they hadn't vetted her at all. It would make the entire royal institution look like a circus. So instead of dealing with that mess, they buried it. Hard. Erased it from every record, silenced the press, and kept the fairy tale intact. For a while, it worked. But now, the silence is cracking. Because Andrew, the man who lost everything, is furious. While Meghan walked away with fame, wealth, and global sympathy, Andrew was left with nothing. Titles gone, reputation in ashes, his life in ruins, and he's been stewing in that resentment ever since. He knows things about Meghan, about those early days, about conversations and connections the public never saw. And now that he's got nothing left to lose, he's ready to talk. Sarah Ferguson's standing right beside him too. She was there when Meghan tried to enter that world. She blocked her once. Now she's watching the palace protect the same woman who walked away unscathed while Andrew was destroyed. And sources say she's done staying silent. Imagine what happens if Andrew starts talking. If he finally tells the world about Meghan's presence in those secret circles, about the buried timeline that connects their lives before Harry ever appeared. Everything Meghan has built, the brand, the influence, the royal mystique, it all collapses. Because once it's out, there's no going back. The palace can't contain it. The press can't bury it again. And Harry, well, he'll be forced to face a truth that's been waiting for years. And that's what makes this moment so dangerous. Andrew isn't scared anymore. You can't threaten a man who's already lost everything. His silence served the palace once, but not anymore. He's angry. He wants payback. And when people like that decide to speak, they don't whisper, they explode. You can almost feel the tension behind those palace walls. Everyone's waiting, terrified, because once Andrew breaks that silence, it won't just expose Meghan, it'll expose the monarchy itself. How far they went to protect her, how much they hid from the public, and how many lies they told to keep that perfect royal illusion alive. For years, Meghan has been framed as the misunderstood outsider, the modern duchess, the woman who shook up the royal system. But what if the real story is that she knew exactly how the system worked long before she married into it? That she played it better than anyone else ever could? And now, all those buried connections, all those coincidences everyone ignored, they're about to resurface. Andrew's fury isn't fading. Fergie's loyalty to the institution is breaking. And Harry's caught in the middle, realizing that the fairy tale he gave everything up for might have been built on secrets, strategies, and a long-forgotten plan that started years before his name was ever mentioned. Because when the truth finally comes out, and it will, the story everyone thought they knew about Meghan Markle and Prince Harry will shatter. And in its place, the world will see what really happened. How one woman learned to move like a shadow through the most powerful family on earth, how she played the game that others couldn't even see, and how one man, broken and betrayed, is finally ready to expose it all. And that's why Meghan's panicking, because this time, the silence can't save her. The same palace that once buried her past to protect itself can't stop what's coming next. Andrew has nothing left to lose. He's the storm she never saw coming. And when he finally speaks, the fairy tale ends. And the craziest part? This whole situation isn't just about old gossip, it's about revenge. Andrew has been humiliated, stripped of dignity, paraded through the headlines while Meghan walks red carpets in California pretending to be the victim. Can you imagine how that must burn? Watching her enjoy the fame and fortune he lost, knowing she was right there in the same world when his entire life blew up. He's had years to stew in silence, and now it's catching up. The palace can feel it too. Behind those gates, they're terrified that Andrew might finally speak, that he might reveal the piece of history they fought so hard to erase. Because when that truth spills, it won't just ruin Meghan's image, it could take down the monarchy's carefully built illusion of control. The perfect royal fairy tale, the grand wedding, the glamorous exit, the modern couple narrative, it could all crumble in one breath. Meghan's biggest fear isn't exposure, it's losing the power of her story. And once Andrew opens his mouth, that's exactly what's going to happen. The silence that once saved her is the silence that's about to destroy her.